Hello everyone, Storm here, and today I'm back with part 2 of What If Yamcha Was a Saiyan. If you haven't already seen the first part, check it out now by using the link in the description or the comments. But with that, we're just gonna jump straight into the video now, so I hope you enjoy. So we pick up right after Vegeta leaves Earth following the battle, and the gang decides to go to Namek to bring everyone back. After finding out about the gravity chamber that's being built, Yamcha decides to stay on Earth. He'll go when Goku is fully healed, since he wants to train intensely like him. Plus, Yamcha was also injured quite a bit in the fight with Vegeta, so he does need more time to heal as well. Not as much as Goku, but more than Krillin and the others. Bulma will be going to Namek with the gang, so Yamcha knows that Trunks is safe with his mother there. And so, most of what happens on Namek goes about the same. The main difference is that Trunks is there, and all of them are stronger than they were in canon. Well, Trunks wasn't there in canon, but he's stronger than Gohan and Krillin were originally. So when the Ginyu Force shows up, they'd be able to hold their own against Guldo and Recoome much better. Goku and Yamcha then arrive, having used the gravity chamber to train along the way. They easily beat all of the Ginyu Force and give what remains of their Senzu Beans to their friends. Yamcha reunites with Trunks as Captain Ginyu returns. Both Goku and Yamcha are strong enough to handle him though, since Yamcha's power level is 150,000 and Goku's is 200,000. So after the captain has been beaten down, he decides to swap bodies with Goku and manages to get his body, making him a lot weaker though. This leads to the others still beating Ginyu and making him swap back to his normal body, and Goku then hits him with the frog. So now the gang need to get Goku some healing. Seeing this, Vegeta takes them to Frieza's ship and puts Goku into a healing tank. Nail and Frieza have their chaotic battle as the gang summons Porunga, wishing for Piccolo to be revived and brought to Namek. Frieza and Vegeta then both arrive and prepare to fight each other. Vegeta taunts Frieza into using a second form, leading to him beating everyone down. Piccolo then shows up, having fused with Nail, and since he's much stronger, he would slam Frieza until he used his final form. Then Frieza wins the battle. By now, the others have now healed from their injuries with Dende's help, giving both Vegeta, Yamcha, Gohan, and Trunks all Zenkais. As they begin losing, Yamcha reveals what he has been working on since his fight with Raditz. He's been trying to figure out a way to utilize the Uzaru power without actually transforming. Training with Goku finally helped him to complete it. So now, as he begins being beaten down by Frieza, his muscles start to bulk up. His eyes become a yellow-orange, and he screams out. He is now ascended to the wrathful form. I think that it makes sense for this form to be possible, since we've seen some symbolism of Uzaru power being used in base form from Goku's fight with King Piccolo. Plus, there's nothing saying that the form is 100% exclusive to Broly, so there's really no reason for us to assume that. So Yamcha having a primal aesthetic to him with the Wolfang Fist and all that type of imagery would seem to fit the role of having this form from a character sense as well. With a power level of 15 million while using it, he begins laying the beat down on a suppressed Frieza. All of his attacks do major damage, making him stagger and unable to fight back. However, Frieza does slowly power up to combat this, eventually beating Yamcha down until the form runs out. He's also able to outwit Yamcha since this form kind of makes him lose his mind a little bit. Again, it's really not that overpowered of a form for him to unlock, so I could definitely see him using it. It's only a 10 times boost like Uzaru, and it also has downsides when it comes to your mental state. But anyway, after Yamcha is beaten down, the whole squad is basically doomed. Dende is killed by Frieza, and Vegeta follows soon after. But at the end, Goku arrives to face off against the Emperor. Goku's power level is much higher than in canon now, being 6.6 million, so his Kaioken times 20 would actually be enough to overpower Frieza. This means that Goku's Kaioken times 20 Kamehameha will do significantly more damage to Frieza, making everyone think he's dead like the Spirit Bomb. However, there's a reason I said think, and that's because he returns and blasts Piccolo before killing Krillin. Seeing this would enrage Goku, making him go a Super Saiyan, but this time, he's got a power level of 330 million. Yamcha is also infuriated, but not quite as much as Goku since Krillin is Goku's best friend, and Yamcha also isn't quite strong enough to unlock the Super Saiyan form just yet. But that's fine, as Goku is more than enough to handle Frieza this time. His power level is over double his original strength as a Super Saiyan, and Frieza's is even lower than that. So Goku's basically able to beat down Frieza very easily, even with his full power unlocked. This means he doesn't survive Planet Namek's destruction this time, which would still happen. Goku is still merciful for the first part of this fight, after all. So using the Earth's Dragon Balls, all the people killed by Frieza and his men on Namek are brought back to life. Dende then uses Porunga to teleport all of them to Earth. After Frieza's death, Goku escapes to planet Yardrat like in canon. On Earth, Yamcha would spend some time training his son, Trunks. And because Bulma is a kind lady, she offers Vegeta a place to stay at Capsule Corp, and Yamcha is also there since he's married to Bulma, which leads to the two Saiyans encountering each other quite a lot. Most of these encounters involve some smack talk, as they are both proud and confident warriors. Plus, Yamcha is still angry about what he and Nappa did during their time on Earth. And because they are Saiyans, they would end up fighting a lot as well. What actually happens is Yamcha starts losing in his base form, but then he brings out the wrathful state and is able to beat Vegeta easily. But he still doesn't have much control over this power yet, so it usually ends with Trunks or Bulma intervening and Yamcha returning to normal. But Yamcha knows this rivalry with Vegeta could be very useful. He can use this to his advantage to have another training partner. Not only will that help his strength, but it will also help him to use the wrathful form more. Hopefully, over some time, he can master the form and gain control over himself. So Yamcha has Bulma and her father make a gravity chamber like the one he and Goku used to get to Namek. That way, he can entice Vegeta with a higher level of training. Once it's built, Vegeta would encounter Yamcha as he usually does, and when Vegeta attacks, Yamcha suggests they take it into the chamber. This works perfectly, and now Vegeta is a regular sparring partner for both himself and Trunks. Around that time, we'd see the revival of Krillin, Tenshinhan, and Chaozu, as well as the Namekians going to New Namek. Because Frieza is dead and King Cold has no leads for Earth, neither of them would show up. Instead, Goku would return to Earth, being greeted by everyone else. The gang is happy to see him, and Goku is shocked that Bulma is pregnant again. It's been a year and a half since Namek, so there's been plenty of time for that to happen. Obviously, it's Yamcha's kid yet again, as Bulma won't fall for Vegeta here, since she's happily married to Yamcha. They all celebrate the return of Goku, and then go back to their normal lives. But 3 years would pass, and Goku would die of the heart virus. By this point, Bulma and Yamcha's second child would be a few years old. She is named Bra, or you may know her as Bulla, but I'll be calling her Bra since I like that name. Anyway, after a full 3 years of training, Vegeta and Yamcha have unlocked Super Saiyan. Not to mention, Yamcha would also have mastered his wrathful form. But after the death of Goku, both Yamcha and Vegeta are pretty upset. Goku was someone who brought a lot of humanity to Yamcha, and most of the important moments in his life were because of Goku. At the same time, Vegeta lost a big rival. So this would lead to both of them having intense arguments and fights. This ends up in Vegeta being kicked out of Capsule Corp and leaving in a fit of rage. Only a few months later, the androids would attack a city. So our fighters gear up and head out to handle it. But Vegeta doesn't show up here due to his renewed hatred for Yamcha. We do have a much stronger Yamcha, as well as Trunks being a pretty strong fighter though. However, the androids will still be enough to beat our squad. Yamcha is the MVP of this battle due to his Super Saiyan form, and his intense gravity training making his base form a lot stronger as well. But both androids can beat him by working together. And anytime one of the weaker fighters tried to help Yamcha, the androids would just kill them pretty easily. So we still get the deaths of Chaozu, Krillin, Tenshinhan, and Piccolo here. Yamcha, seeing all of his friends be killed, tells Gohan and Trunks to get out of there now, and so they fly off. However, the androids try to intercept them. This leads to Yamcha making the split decision to save Trunks. He quickly beats up Android 17 and knocks him aside, allowing Trunks to fly away. Gohan is left to get beaten down by Android 18 before she is blasted away from him. Vegeta then arrives in his Super Saiyan form. Gohan thanks to the prince, and he replies, telling him to shut up. He only saved him because a Saiyan like him could prove useful. He tells the boy to leave now if he wants to live, and so Gohan catches up to Trunks. Yamcha tells Vegeta that he could have showed up sooner, but the prince says that he wanted to let them suffer. This infuriates Yamcha, and he wants to fight Vegeta right there, but the androids are the bigger threat here. While Vegeta indirectly led to the deaths of his friends, the androids were the ones who killed them, so it's more important to fight them first. But now, Yamcha was worn down from fighting so much, which means Vegeta is carrying the team. After Yamcha is beaten down and has a little energy left to maintain the Super Saiyan form, he would fall to the ground. He sees Vegeta being beaten up by both androids together, and this leads to Yamcha awakening the wrathful state once again. This form doesn't take too much energy to use, as it's just an extension of the base form. It just had mindless attacks when low on energy. So Yamcha uses it to try and help Vegeta, but a 10 times power increase on a low power Yamcha wouldn't help too much here. This leads to, sadly, both Saiyans being killed by the androids, which again, pretty sad. But in the end, they managed to work together, so that's pretty nice. After that, Trunks and Gohan make their way back to the fight scene and find the dead bodies of all the Z fighters as well as Vegeta. With Trunks seeing his father dead, and Gohan seeing all of his friends dead, the two would both transform into Super Saiyans out of rage. But it was of no use, as the androids were long gone by now. Once they've calmed down, Trunks and Gohan would be inspired to try and fight back against the androids. They would train together in the gravity chamber, but it would eventually lose power due to the chaos the androids caused. Trunks and Gohan would still continue sparring with each other, and the two occasionally go out to fight the androids. But with two of them, they'd make the androids try much harder, which means they'd be less merciful. So Gohan loses his arm much sooner here, and both would have scars from their battles. You might be thinking, oh wait, but shouldn't two of them make it easier to beat the androids? Kind of, because they'd be getting stronger, but the androids would also see them as a bigger threat, whereas they just saw one guy, Gohan, so he wasn't really perceived as too big of a threat, more just like a plaything. But if there's two of them, two really strong guys, especially even stronger than they were before, then the androids are just going to try harder. After some years, the two would begin training Bra as well. If they could have 3 Saiyans training together and have Super Saiyan, they could probably deal with the androids. And of course, Bra is taking the original role for Trunks in this story. But she's trained much earlier, so she would end up unlocking Super Saiyan like the others. Trunks and Gohan bring her on her first battle against the androids after she achieves the form, but this doesn't go too well. Sure, Trunks and Gohan are stronger than they were in canon, but they're still not on the level of the androids. Not to mention the fact that Bra is weaker compared to them, so she'd kinda be a liability. This leads to an earlier death of future Gohan, since he's already lost his arm and the androids view him as the easiest target besides Bra, who Trunks would be trying to protect. Trunks is furious after losing his best friend, so he loses control of his anger and attacks 17 blindly. Due to his rage boost, he is actually able to punch off one of 17's hands, breaking it off and leaving it hanging on his arm. He then slams 17 in the ground, but this makes 18 angry as well, so she would go after Bra. Trunks immediately regains his composure when seeing his little sister get attacked. He's able to block a few blows, but 17 rejoins the fight and beats him down. As payback for the hand thing, 17 tells 18 to hold Trunks to the ground. She does so, and 17 then goes over to Bra and kills her in one swift attack, right in front of Trunks. After witnessing this, Trunks snaps, instantly powering up further and launching 18 off of him. With his rage, he's able to combat both of the androids pretty well. For reference of his power, Gohan here was stronger than the future Gohan was in canon, and Trunks is even stronger than that due to his training with Yamcha and Vegeta. So with the amount of rage, he'd be strong enough to fight both androids. He just watched his best friend and little sister die, so he's automatically going to be astronomically furious. He can't outright kill either of the androids, but he can cause immense damage to them. Kind of like what he did to 17 earlier, just it would be more frequent and would happen to both androids. So by the end of Trunks' rage, both androids would be torn to shreds, barely being able to still live. Trunks then finishes them off and heads toward home. He returns to Capsule Corp badly injured. His mother picks him up and asks where Bra is, but Trunks would just begin crying. Bulma also starts crying, and the scene ends there. While Trunks is getting healed up, he tells Bulma that she should still go through with making the time machine, even if the androids have been defeated. If they can go back and change the future so everyone lives, that would be a much better life than this. Of course, they don't know yet that the timelines are separate from each other, so they're just thinking that they go back in time, they fix everything for their timeline. Bulma agrees, and so she gets to work on it. 3 more years would pass, and now a much older Trunks goes back in time to save the future. But that's where we'll end this part, as we've covered quite a bit. So if you guys want to see how Trunks impacts this story, make sure you subscribe so you can see when part 3 drops. But as always, tell me if you liked this part, tell me what you think will happen next, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.